Welcome to our greatest American art form,
the mixtape.
Now, for all of you kids who don't know,
traditionally, a mixtape is a homemade compilation of media from multiple sources, recorded into a medium like a CD, a VHS, or cassette tape.
What we are presenting to you here is something we call Mixtape Therapy,
a collection of authentic conversations,
often wacky conversations,
inspired by what inspires us.
Except instead of a cassette tape, we are bringing you a podcast.
So just as you might share a mixtape, we share these conversations with you,
in the hopes that they spark a similar connection to the good old mixtape.
Now join us for a little mixtape
therapy.
I just had the worst day of my motherfucking life. I'm trying to act like nothing wrong, but I can't do nothing right. So I'm about to break down, about to lose my fucking mind. If I can make it through the day, they said tomorrow I'll be fine. I've been down this road before, but I don't think I ever been down this slow. I've been sad, but I don't know why. I think I lost my mind, but I found it though. I just want someone to text me back, except when the bank say balance low. I just want someone to let me vent and not judge a motherfucker like a talent show.
How you doing?
I'm alive, Scottie.
That's
alive.
Great. That's great. Hey, you accomplished your only goal today.
I really did. I mean, my only goal, and to show up to this, this was on here.
Appreciate you. I really appreciate you showing up today.
Well, and I appreciate you, checking in on me and being the fire under my ass to do the thing, which is to consistently do something, even if you're feeling like crappy,
I think I was just talking about this with a client, and I think it's incredibly underestimated how having something that you're interested in that you do consistently, no matter what, is so important, right? So if it's like learning an instrument or drawing or painting or like writing poetry or like serving a group or, whatever it is like you're doing, right? Because the underlying of that is it gives you this grit.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I'm making this up, but the reason this came up with my client is because we were talking about podcasting and me doing the podcast and what it's becoming and, us podcasting. And I said, I don't know what it is now in my life, but it's just it's such a part of my life that even when shit is kind of going bad, I can go lose myself in my podcast creation. I can go do my making of art or whatever. Anyways, total tangential little stuff.
It's amazing. And kind of to this point, so I'm living with my parents right now.
Exciting.
Hey, there's positives and there's negatives. It's a whole mix. And, but, I've been going through it mentally, just struggling, which, hey, that's the story of my life, right? That's why I'm a therapist.
The story of everybody's life. That's everybody's life.
The story of everyone's life, for freaking sure. And I think, I don't have any, I don't know. What am I trying to say? I do have this meaning that I'm able to put behind it, which is that, hey, this is what I do for a living, in that I help people who are also struggling mentally. If I don't have periods in which I'm really struggling mentally, then I don't know what I'm talking about, And it's really easy to say the reverse, which is like, I'm a therapist, like I should be the one that is in control and has the answers and has perfect mental health. I know that's a stupid thing, but my brain still will say that, right? My brain still plays the tricks on me that everyone's brain, all the tricks that other people's brains play on them. My brain does the same thing. But it's important to remember, it's like, okay, I came to this work because I know what it's like to struggle. So if I'm struggling, that's kind of like part of my whole shtick. But anyway, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and I was telling her that we were going to record this podcast, and she just says, I don't get it. Who are you guys talking to? And I said, you know what? It really just doesn't matter. Of course, I hope that someone's listening to this and getting something out of it. But I was telling her, Scottie, kind of to your point, I'm like, it matters less who we're talking to, what the results are. It's just that we do it. It's something that we do.
Well, I think on a flip side, you really never know who you're talking to.
Right.
Meaning that, like, I just had a client come back to me. She's been gone for like a really long time, lived in another state or whatever. And she came back to me, and basically, in a nutshell, she's had a really hard life. Like, her life has gotten, like, for her, mentally worse, right? And so her physical health has also gone down. And she basically came to me and she goes, I want you to help me turn my mental and physical health back around, right? So the last time I worked with her, I was just kind of a personal trainer, and I didn't do any really mental health stuff and no mental type of things and stuff like that. And when she was talking to me and telling me about what's been going on, she referenced all these videos that I put out. Like, she's like, that one where you said blank, that one where you said blank. And I was like, wow, somebody's listening.
She's watching your videos.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody's listening. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And not maybe when I think but I that's kind of a whole like side story. I want to go to something you said just now. Yeah, I don't know how you worded it. Maybe you said, like, I'm just not one of those therapists that's going to, like, pretend like everything's okay, or like when it's not okay, and whatever. And I started thinking about, like, in my career as being a personal trainer, you know what I mean? When I was just a personal trainer, and all the conversations around, like, well, what do you eat? And I'm like, well, I eat shit food like you do. You know what I mean? Like, and all, but there was always those people that if you one, they would be in like a weird healthy shape, right? Like they're healthy and they're thin and blah blah blah, but you're like, man, there's something off. Like, it feels really extreme or whatever. And then you would ask them things like, you go like, well, what do you eat? And they go, well, I only eat broccoli. You know what I mean? And you're like, bullshit. like, you're like, there's no way, And I think that even if you showed up today and pretended to be or put on the front or whatever of whatever you think everyone thinks you should be today while we're recording, at least me, I don't know about everybody else or anybody that watches it, but I think people would call bullshit in their mind. They would be, if they've even seen you on a video before, if seen us interact before, they would call bullshit. So I think that it's way more interesting. It's way more authentic. And it's way better when you show up as yourself, and then we have just like real conversation around like about not what's going on, but like that I'm going through something. I don't have to tell you details or anything, but it's not going to stop me from trying to show up for Scottie or the podcast or myself, really. You know what I mean? And I think that's the song that we picked is, Worst Day of My Life.
I know. I was going to say, like, this is the perfect segue into this song, which Scottie picked out, but I was like, I feel like he's talking to me with this song because
I really wasn't. I mean, maybe
okay,
I
cool.
was. Maybe subconsciously, I was like thinking of you when I heard it. Because so to start off, this is one of my favorite rappers. This is he is top. I've already decided he's top 5 Mount Rushmore for me. He might not be for anybody else on the planet, but for me, he's top 5, right?
Okay.
And the song's called, It's the Worst Day of My Life. And obviously he just describes like everything that goes wrong and stuff like that. But there was this one line in the song that made me think of you and me and like just things we say. Let me get the line. I saved it.
Amazing.
The line is, I just want someone to let me vent and not judge a motherfucker like a talent show. And like, I think of that like I had lunch with one of my friends yesterday and he let me talk about things that are going on. And I made sure when I got done, I was like, hey, man, I really appreciate you just letting me talk things out. And he was, of course, like, no problem. You know what I mean? And I think what an underrated skill. And I tried my best to do that with you, but I'm a guy, so sometimes I'm a problem solver. So I'm like, Hannah, let's solve this problem. But I try to be that space for you as much as I can. And I think it's so underrated that when people have a really bad day, they don't want you to fix it. Me and Hannah have gone through this before. They don't want you to fix it. They just might want to vent and listen. And you have to be aware enough and not bring so much of your bullshit to the table that you recognize that person needs that and you are able to fill that space without filling it with all the things that you think they should do or you want to do or what will make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, although to be fair, yes. To be fair, right? I mean, the struggle I'm going through right now, there's a lot of things going on right now, but there's a specific tangible thing going on right now, which is insomnia. Which is something that I don't typically struggle with. I've struggled with it a very long time ago in a very significant way that blew up my life. I'll just go into this in case anyone can relate. Okay, so the last time I had the kind of chronic, intense insomnia like I'm experiencing right now, I was 19 years old. I was in my sophomore year of college in New York City, and I had this really intense period of insomnia. And from that, my mental health really deteriorated. I would say it was like up until that point, it felt like the most significant struggle I had ever endured. And between the insomnia and my mental health really deteriorating, and, I was at Columbia, right? This like super intense competitive school. And it became very clear that I was not going to be able to keep up academically between not sleeping and just feeling so crappy. Like I was just not going to be able to perform at the level that I needed to perform. And I left, like I dropped out of college. So in my mind, insomnia is linked to life is falling apart and like I've got to exit my life, right? It just holds this really weighty place in my mind.
Real quickly, do you know why?
Do I know why the insomnia is happening?
Why it holds such a weighty place in your mind? Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Insomnia is it's funny, until you're the one struggling with it, it sounds so boring. It sounds like, yeah, people have trouble sleeping. Who cares? Like, whatever. But if you are someone who has undergone it or has struggled with it, you know that it feels really, really scary. Like it's like
out of control, anything. Right?
Totally out of control, super anxiety inducing. I mean, it's like the same thing if you feel like you can't eat. It's like, what? If I can't eat or I can't sleep, like we're talking basic things. It feels like a basic tenet of human survival is being seriously compromised. And it's really easy to totally fall into a panic. Now, there are some people who struggle with this more chronically. And so for them, they're used to it. And they've learned to cope with it better mentally. Like they've learned to think about it in a way that it doesn't feel like their life is ending. For someone like me, for whom sleep has never been an issue, if anything, I feel like I'm typically that person that could sleep for 13 hours easy. For someone like me experiencing the very extreme other end of the sleep thing, it feels just like a big deal. It's like it plays a trick in my mind. Is it a trick? I don't know. I mean, it makes me feel like something's really, really wrong, right? But now that I've been experiencing this for the past 3 weeks, it's been like weeks now. And when it first started happening, I totally flipped out. And now that it's happening, I'm not happy about it. But I'm definitely coming into this place of like, well, okay, this is a thing. This is a thing. I'm not the first person to struggle with this. There are many other people who struggle with this. I can actually technically survive this. Like, I'm not going to die. There are, for instance, new parents, right? There's all kinds of people functioning with this burden all the time. And that's not, that doesn't make it all better, but it does certainly kind of put it in this perspective in which it feels like something that this sucks. Like, this sucks. I really want it to change. But at the same time, like, I am not willing to let it derail my life. I'm talking about it in this really calm way. If you talk to me at 2 a.m. last night when I wasn't sleeping, it would sound like, oh my fucking God, like, just, it would sound different. But yeah, no like big conclusion there other than hard shit happening is so inevitable, right? And the way that we think about the fact that we're experiencing this hard thing is hugely important. Of course, every bone in my body, to go back to your point about like venting versus fixing, every bone in my body wants to just fix this, right? I'm like, I will, like, I am taking the drugs and listening to the doctors and doing the things. But they're like, with a problem like this, they're actually, it isn't like this super straightforward solution. Like, I'm doing things and like a lot of them are like not working, right? So there aren't these straightforward solutions. I want the solutions. But at the same time, I think what I'm describing to you now and just like this, just talking through the acceptance and the grappling of it. Yeah, that's something that maybe just, it does feel good to just kind of talk about it, lay it out there, say kind of like, it is what it is. I don't know.
Would you say you're naming it? Do you know what I mean?
Naming.
Like you're calling it what it is and just going, this is what this is at this moment, you know, instead of going like, I don't see that, you know, like there's nothing to see here. It's kind of like, this is what I'm dealing with at this moment. I'm naming it and going, this is what's going on right now. I know this isn't forever, but this is where I'm at right now, kind of thing.
Well, I'm certainly naming it here in this moment. And I am, you know, for better, for worse, I'm not someone who's super good at hiding what I'm going through, if I'm going through something. Now, do I tell my clients, hey, just so you know, I'm struggling with insomnia? No, I mean, because that's not what they pay me for. I don't know. It might come up, you know, if it, I don't know. There might be a world in which this comes up in a session. For instance, if someone is really struggling with insomnia, I could relate to them and say like, hey, actually, I know what that's like. I know how hard it is. I just want you to know, like, you will survive it because I've also struggled with that or something like that. But no, it's not something that I'm kind of like volunteering freely, but to hide the fact that I'm going through something difficult, typically for me, it's just, it doesn't work. I'm like not good at it. Because to me, the option to, it feels like I either have to be honest with what's really happening or I kind of withdraw totally from interacting with people. And I'm not going to lie, I do some of that. I do like withdraw. Right.
Yeah, I think because I don't know, like you would have to say this, like, I feel like there's part of you saying that, like, you know, externally, in being honest about that, like back to my song, like, hey, I wish I could just vent and not judge a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that there, you know, like if it was me and I was struggling with something that I felt like that I shouldn't struggle with, there would be shame and like all that jazz, you know? And so, yeah, like you might want to recluse, like you might not want to be in front of people because you're like, well, if I'm in front of people, I'm going to be authentic. And right now I am not a great person to be in front of.
100%.
And I think that's great responsibility on your part. Now, you know, if you did that for a long time and I didn't hear from you, I would worry. That would be totally different. You know what I mean? But if you're like, I do that all the time when I'm not in the best. I told Erin the other day, she wanted to go to her sister's and eat dinner. And I just went up to her and I was like, I'm not in a good mood and I don't want to go. And it's not because I don't want to go. It's because I don't think I'll be a good person going.
Yeah.
And so if it's cool, I just want to stay home. If you want me to go, I'll still go. I can be a good person. I just don't want to work that hard today. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so for the benefit of everyone, I'm going to stay home, you know? And I'm totally fine with, there's no shame. Like, I mean, at times my friends have tried to shame and guilt me into doing, I'm like, nah, I'm, you know, this is important to me, you know? And I think that's a good thing that's gotta be, is that different than the first time you worked with this insomnia? What's your approach this time versus the last time?
It's a great question. I've been telling people that there's it is kind of funny. The funny trick that my brain is playing on me is to say it's the exact same thing. Because the last time this happened, I went from living kind of on my own in college to living with my parents.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And then I like, you know, so it does, there's this eerie feeling of like, it's the same thing, right? Because, because I am, I don't know, in the same place geographically with the same issue. It's really silly, easy for my brain to like conflate those two things together and say like, I'm no better off than I was when I was 19. I'm just a kid again. Like I'm helpless, all these other things.
Does it feel the same? Does it feel the same?
It does and it doesn't, you know, I think, I'll tell you what feels similar in a good way, which is weird. But I think for better, for worse, I am not the kind of person who can completely give up, right? Like when I came back from college, I pat myself on the back, I don't know, right? But when I came back from college, like when I dropped out of college the first time, well, I only dropped out of college once, but yes. But when I dropped out of college 10 to 12, whatever years ago, and I got home, it was pretty shortly thereafter that I was, not because my parents told me to, like, no, in fact, my parents are like, they just like don't put a lot of pressure on me in this type of way. But I quickly got a job. I got 2 jobs. I was like, well, I got to do something, right? Like, and I think that has always, I don't want to say has always, but that's certainly also true now, right? It's a part of my personality that like kind of just completely giving up and laying in bed all day. And that's not to shame people for whom that is the case, because my depression doesn't operate that way. And I know some people, hey, it does operate that way. Like they literally can't get out of bed. And I feel tremendous compassion for those people. But for me, it's always been like, well, okay, now what? This shitty thing happened. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I feel like a failure. What am I going to do now? And there's always been like, well, I gotta do something, you know, I'm going to do something. So that still feels true in that even though the situation of struggling with mental health, living with my parents for a time, all of that feels, you know, embarrassing, shameful, not what I want, not ideal, not what I thought I would be doing at this point in my life. But there is still that part of my brain that's saying like, okay, so now what are we going to do? Like, let's think about what we're going to do with this time. Like maybe like, how do I make the most out of this time? I think the part that I am doing differently is, well, I'm still working my job, right? Like I'm still going to work. So I have not quit my job.
Excellent.
I know it's like it sounds basic, but it's a big deal. It's like I haven't dropped out of my occupation or my profession. Am I operating at my peak? I don't think so. Can my clients tell? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know if they can tell or not that I'm not like at my best. But but I'm not giving up on, I don't want to say giving up, but I'm not stopping, like kind of like my current way of being like I did back then. And I think the part that feels important that I really am trying to lean into this time, back when I was 19, the idea of living with my parents when I should have been in college felt so bad and wrong to me. And there's still a part of me that feels that way. But significantly, my parents are older. Like they're much older. And I'm trying to actually think way more about, okay, what if this is precious time with them? Because I used to live in Austin. I used to live a 5-hour plane ride away. And so even though, part of me is embarrassed and I feel too old to live with my parents or that sort of thing, what if this is actually supposed to happen on some level because this is cherished time with them that I might not have had otherwise?
If my parents were like, you can come move home right now, I'd move home with my parents right now. Like if they were like, come live with us and don't pay a mortgage and like we'll give you food, I'd be like, where do I sign up? You know what I mean? Like I think because like there's a level, I totally get what you're saying. Like I remember being like, oh, I'd never go home. Like I'd be embarrassed and blah blah blah. And then I remember it like taking this other turning point where I was like, man, like I wouldn't have to pay rent. Are you crazy? But I think
I'm saving money, that's for sure.
Hey, but what a great thing. What a great way to that's not what I want to say. What an excellent job you did at looking at the overall situation and going, there are parts of this that suck.
Yeah.
But if there's parts that suck, that means there has to be parts that are good. Like the yin and yang of life says that if there's parts that suck, there has to be something good, and you found it. And so the more you lean into that, the better the whole situation feels, I think. And I think that also, I think a lot of any guilt or shame or anything you're feeling that's a negative emotion probably will go away once you put your gratitude into the time that you have with your parents that you'll never have again. Like you'll never get any of this back. I think about that with my daughter all the time. She's little. It's the opposite end, right? Mm-hmm. And I think about I'll never get this time back. So like every day I can take her to school, I take her to school. Every day that I can pick her up, I pick her up. Every spare moment I have that like I'll be doing like some work or something and she'll come in. Well, I say work, it's like paperwork or something. And she'll come in and she'll go, Daddy, can we pretend like I'm a crazy statue and you like put me around the house and then like I end up in other places? This is a game we play. And in my mind, I'll go, God, I get to get this paperwork done. And then I go, she's not going to ask you to play crazy statue for the rest of her life. Oh. And then I go, I can do this paperwork, tonight. I can do it tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go play crazy statue. And I do that with my parents too. My parents will ask me, and I'll be like, I don't want to go to this dinner or do this. I don't want to eat dinner at 4:30. Like, what? Are you crazy? You know what I mean? And then I'll go to dinner at 4:30 because I want that time with them. I don't want to lose it. So, kudos to you for because I think this is what everyone okay. When we say we're having the worst day of our life, I thought about this. How many times have you said, this is the worst day of my life?
I was going to ask you that too, Scottie. I was like, can we put this, I don't know if this is, kind of whatever you or I is willing to share in terms of like, what is for you, Scottie, a worst day of your life that you now look back on differently?
I'm going to be honest. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Because this is what I think. I put so much focus on having good days. And then when I do have the worst day of my life, like when I have one of those days, right? The whole day, I'm like, well, this isn't forever. This isn't going to be tomorrow. This is just today. you know, like, and I'm talking as like I'm getting punched in the face. I'm just telling myself, hey, you know, like, this is not a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? And that process has helped me process things a lot better. The last worst day of my life I can think of, man, I really think, but that wasn't, okay. I'm not going to think anymore. I'll just go with this one. The worst day of my life was the day that me and my ex-wife, we had traveled to see her parents. We'd come home from Colorado. We went to a comedy show that night because our plane got delayed. So we're like 2 days late. So we're supposed to already be home. So we go straight from the airport to like this comedy show. And like, that was the night that we separated.
Wow.
And sitting here thinking about it, I can't pull up any emotions. I can't pull up any feelings about like how I feel about it. I know it sucked.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you fast forward to here, it's like, I mean, in the story, like the story of the movie of my life, you know what I mean? It's like, when a bad thing happens in a movie and you're like, ooh, are they going to be able to correct that? Or is the movie going to go downhill from this point forward?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And it was the correction that, you know, made everything wonderful in the end.
Well, that's what you remember now, right? Is the corrective point of it. I think that's so significant, right? Because I can think of so many. I mean, yeah, I would maybe in the more recent past, there are some really bad days that I'm like, oof, it still feels heavy, right? Because, for instance, like an easy one is like, because I have not found, or because I'm not with a new partner, the breakup with my last partner still just feels shitty. You know, I'm like, that still just feels sucky. And there's, you know, there's the positive spins on it is like, okay, that was probably the right thing. I survived that. He survived that, right? Like it's in the past now. It is a little bit harder, right? When it doesn't feel like you're like, oh, and that's why that was meant to happen. But for so many of those really bad days, like in, you know, a year or two ago, because the plot happened, you can see why that was important to experience, or how things did take a turn for the better from there. Or even if it was just horrible and sad, like there's some things that don't make a lot of sense, I would say, or like this, it might be a silly example, but it's important because this doesn't get enough credit. This actually just came up in a session yesterday. Losing a pet. That's one of those really shitty things, man, right? Where you're like, nah, it's just sad. Like, and it's not like, and that was meant to happen because from there, blah, blah, blah. You can say, yeah, it's important to learn how to experience grief, and like loving something that is lost is like an important human experience, and blah, blah, blah. It is hard to feel like that needed to happen in my life, right? There are some things like that that just feel sad, you know?
So we just lost a pet, right? We just lost my girlfriend's dog.
I'm so
right?
sad. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
And you just said, how did you word it? You said something that needed to happen in our life. Is that how you worded that?
Mm.
What if it's not your life? What is something that needed to happen in their life? And you're
pet?
Just the pet. That's something that needed to happen in their life. We're not talking about your life.
Yeah.
We're talking about their life.
Yeah.
And that's something that needed to happen in their life, and you're experiencing their life instead of them experiencing your life. You're like, you died on me. And it's like, no, you didn't die. You're like, no, I died because I died. You'd experienced it externally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to that point, golly, how long has that been now? It's been a couple months, maybe. And just yesterday, my girlfriend was like, oh, like she teared up and she was like, oh, her name was Gumbo. And she's like, oh, I miss Gumbo. And to your point, there are still days, I'm so happy. I love my life. I'm so happy with my life. But there are still days where I think about my ex-wife, and I think about our divorce, and I think about some of our hard fights and things like that. And it kind of excuse me, puts me in a temporary funk, not because I don't love my life now, but because
it sucked.
it sucked. And there's a sadness and an empathy for me and her and that relationship when I look back on it. You know what I mean? And I think that when we have really bad days, you just like anything else, anything that happens bad in your life, you need enough time and space away from it to be able to see what it really is. It's almost impossible to see when an event happens. It's almost impossible to see what was the reason right then. There could be an initial reason, but maybe that's not, like the initial reason is I got divorced.
Yeah.
But the real reason is because that's not where I was supposed to be, apparently.
Yeah.
Do
Definitely.
you have anything? I appreciate you so much sharing today, Hannah. It's been so wonderful. Do you have anything you want to send us out with?
Man, those worst days of your life. We talk a lot on the podcast. Scottie, you especially talk about this, right? It's like being the best version of yourself that you can be, which is such a beautiful sentiment. And I was thinking, I was going for a run today, and I'm not feeling great because I'm not sleeping and blah, blah, blah. And for me, just like doing the run was an amazing feat, right? It felt, I'm like, this has taken like all my willpower just to do it, right? I'm not going fast. I'm not trying to beat any kind of time. And the word endurance just came up, right? Which is not a sexy word, to just like endure. But on the days that are really, truly terrible, stepping away a little bit from the credo of like being the best you can be, or being like really making the most out of this, and seeing the beauty and the value of simply enduring, like simply getting through it. Bare minimum kind of mentality, which I know can sound sort of depressing, but I think there's something so important to be said for, I don't know what this means, why this is happening. I don't know, how my life is going to get better from here, but there's just kind of a faith in all I have to do is get through it. All I have to do is endure it. And if I make it through the day, if it's the worst day, right? Like this guy's song, it's like just getting through the day. Like that is the most amazing thing that you could possibly do. Not particularly wise or profound, but this idea of endurance, I think it's under celebrated in a culture that focuses so much on achievement and like the extreme ends of success or pushing yourself or doing well. And yeah, we don't talk about those low, slow, trotting, plodding moments that actually are the things that kind of get you to where you need to be.
100%.
That's all I got, Scottie. I don't know.
If you have something that's mixtape therapy for you, make sure you let us know. Hannah, we'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time, Scottie. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.